Once there is a person standing to our right and left, then we inshallah can sit back down. Jazakumullah khairan.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters, and fellow children in Islam, today I present to you three words that is used in the Arabic language and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in the Holy Quran. These words are Hawl, Am, and Sana. These three words describe a cycle of time, namely a year. The first thing that we want to look into is how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala utilize these three words. In regards to the first, which is Hawl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala utilized it when He spoke about a timeline of nurturing. In chapter number 2, verse number 223, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states that the mothers shall give suck to their children for 2 whole years. حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يُتِمَّ الرَّضَاعَةَ. In reference to nursing a baby, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is putting forth a timeline that you shall nurse the baby for 2 years. لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يُتِمَّ الرَّضَاعَةَ. For that individual that is interested in completing the cycle of nourishment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also uses the word hawl to describe a period of maintenance. In chapter number 2, verse number 240, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا وَصِيَّةً لِأَزْوَاجِهِمْ حَوْلَيْنِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, those of you who die and leave behind wives, you should leave behind, a year's maintenance and residence without turning them out. So the word hawl is used to describe a timeline of doing something before it happens, or to describe a timeline of what needs to be done after something transpires. We move on to the next word, am. Am is used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, which too describes a cycle of time which equates to a year. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses it for 2 reasons also. Number 1, to describe history. In chapter number 2, verse number 259, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the story of a prophet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us the story of an individual. Al-awfa alladhi marra ala qaryatin wa hiya khawiyatun ala urushiha. قال أَنَّا يُحْيِي هَذِهِ اللَّهُ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ مِئَةَ عَامٍ. Like the one who passed by a town while it had tumbled over its roof. He said, oh, how will Allah ever bring it to life after its death? So Allah caused him to die for 100 years. And then He raised him up and said, قَالَ كَمْ لَبِثْتَ. He asked, how long did he remain dead? Allah asked him. He said, maybe I was out for a day or a part of a day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then responded, بَلْ لَبِثْتَ مِئَةَ عَامٍ. You were out for 100 years. So here the word am is used to describe history. And my dear friends, it is also used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to describe a divine decree. إِنَّمَا الْمُشْرِكُونَ نَجَسٌ. Verily the polytheists, those who do not accept monotheism and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah says they are impure. I.e., their ideology and their faith has become impure by mixing other gods with one God. Thus Allah says, do not let them come close to the Masjid al-Haram بَعْدَ عَامِهِمْ هَذَا. It was after the conquest of Mecca that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed that this will remain a holy site, and that no one of any other faith outside from the monotheistic faith and believing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, i.e. Islam, will have permission to enter into these holy grounds. Once again, the word hawl was used to describe a timeline of nurturing or a time period of maintenance. The word am was used to describe history or to bring forth a decree. We move on to the third and final word, and that is sana. Sana, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this word in 3 ways. Number 1, to describe a dream or a wish. In verse number 96 of chapter 2, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَوَدُّ أَحَدُهُمْ لَوْ يُعَمَّرُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ. They wish that they could live for 1,000 years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also uses the word sana as a curse. In chapter 5, verse number 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قَالَ فَإِنَّهَا مُحَرَّمَةٌ عَلَيْهِمْ 40 سَنَةً. Therefore the Holy Land is forbidden to them for 40 years. يَتِيهُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. They're just going to roam about in circles for the next 40 years. And last but not least, the word sana can be used to describe an opportunity. In chapter number 10, verse number 5, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ الشَّمْسَ ضِيَاءً وَالْقَمَرَ نُورًا وَقَدَّرَ مَنَازِلَهُ لِتَعْلَمُوا عَدَدَ السِّنِينَ وَالْحِسَابِ. It is He who made the sun a shining thing, and the moon as a light measured out for its stages, so that you might know the number of years and that of reckoning. I'm not here to give an Arabic class today, but I'm here to set the stage for a point that I think we all need to think about. And inshallah, leave from here after the khutbah with a game plan. I want us to focus today not on hawl or am, but to focus on sana. Because as just described, it can entail a dream, a curse, or an opportunity. The best summarization of this is in Surah Yusuf. When Yusuf alayhi salam was called to interpret the dream of the king, and he said, تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَأْبًا فَمَا حَسَدْتُمْ فَذَرُوهُ فِي سُنْبُلِهِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ. He was describing the dream of the king and its 3 stages. He said, 7 years you're gonna grow and you're gonna harvest. It's gonna be good 7 years. So these are years of opportunity. Then he said after that, ثُمَّ يَأْتِي بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ سَبْعٌ شِدَادٌ. He did not use the word sana. He just said 7 will come after this, which will be tough. Of course, in tafsir and in translation, the interpreters and the mufassirin say it means 7 years. And that's exactly what happened. There were 7 good years, followed by 7 very difficult years. And in verse number 49, he said, ثُمَّ يَأْتِي مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ عَامٌ فِيهِ يُغَاثُ النَّاسُ فِيهِ يَعْصِرُونَ. And after that will come time that you will be able to benefit. And that was the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Bringing this in now to the subject of today. As for our current time, the present, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not describe time that we are living in now with the word am, with the word sana, or with the word hawl. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described it as a collection of months. He never used these words. Why did He just say months? The verse I'm referencing to is in chapter number 9, verse number 36, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شَهْرًا فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ يَوْمَ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The cycle of time consists of 12 months. This has been decreed and ordained from the time that Allah created the heavens and the earth. So time is actually 12 months. When 12 months complete, a new cycle of 12 months begins. We define it as a sana. As New Year's passed, people wished each other, كُلَّ سَنَةٍ وَأَنْتُمْ طَيِّبُونَ. May you have a happy new year or have a good coming year. But Allah did not use the word sana. He said months. Why? Because, my brothers and sisters, this time, which is an opportunity, can become a dream fulfilled, or it could be a moment of remorse and regret when we look back at it tomorrow, and thus define it as a curse. The time that we reside in is our opportunity. What we want to make with it is our decision. Tomorrow people can look back at it and define it as something good or bad. But at this moment, time is in our hands. We can mold it, we can use it, we can abuse it however we wish. Remember, time is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And time exists on this earth and in this universe just as you are existing on this earth. Our existence is defined by time. The day of birth, the date of birth, and the day that we die. In a similar fashion, time will also come to cease. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about time in the next life. He says 1,000 years, 50,000 years. He is equating the duration of tomorrow in accordance to how we calculate it today in this world. He did not say it's going to be exactly that long. He said like that. كَأَلْفِ سَنَةٍ مِّمَّا تَعُدُّونَ, like 1,000 years. Why? Because even time has been allotted time from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's mind-boggling. So my presentation today in the khutbah today is to focus that when we understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not decree what is going to happen with 2019, He has left it in our hands to make it. And we can make it a sana which becomes an opportunity of goodness in which we fulfill our dreams and wishes. Or it can become a moment of regret and remorse because we made it a curse on ourselves and on those around us. That all goes down to how we utilize this opportunity. So the question is, where do I start from? What segment of time do I have to capitalize? Is it certain months, as many of us believe culturally? Muharram, Rabiul Awwal, Ramadan, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah. There's specific months which I think I should do good, and other months I should just have a free access to do whatever I want to do because I was holy in Ramadan. I fasted in Ramadan. Now in Shawwal I could do what I want to. Brothers and sisters, it's not about months. It all goes down to just days. If we start focusing on just days, these days can make better weeks. These weeks can then form into better months, and these months can construct a better year. How important is a day in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Recall the moment when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the accomplishment of the masses by a day. الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ. Today I perfected for you your religion. Today. Islam was a cycle of 23 years of prophethood. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was propagating this message for 23 years. But Allah did not say, now after these 2 decades plus, or after all these years, or after all these months, He said today. The day of change can be today. A day is sufficient for our protection from evil and to topple evil. الْيَوْمَ يَئِسَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا عَنْ دِينِكُمْ. Today the disbelievers have given up hope on changing you from your religion. Remember, and I'm going to pause here. We are not in a world to battle ideologies. That my faith is better than your faith. Faith came to present goodness. Today, goodness has succeeded. Today, peace has succeeded. Today, society is in a stable position that they can exist and they could continue to thrive. الْيَوْمَ يَئِسَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا عَنْ دِينِكُمْ. Today, those disbelievers that wanted a distorted society, that wanted to disrupt society, that wanted to pull people down in society, they have given up on the ideology and the path that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has brought forth. It happened in one day. Allah said, today is that day. And it's all going to be about one day that will define where we will live for eternity. And that is known as the Day of Judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, يَوْمَ تَبْيَضُّ وُجُوهٌ وَتَسْوَدُّ وُجُوهٌ. It is on that day that will define what we did in history, what we wrote in the annals of history, what we presented in the time that Allah allotted for us on this earth. It will be on that day that certain faces will shine and certain faces will be darkened. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to understand the importance of the moment, to capitalize on the moment, to do good in the moment, to topple evil in the moment, to bring forth goodness for humanity in the moment, and to become representatives of goodness in the moment. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left this chapter, has left this volume open. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written in the decree of everything that's going to happen thousands of years before He created this earth and this universe. But no, the path to it is us. What we decide, what we determine. So in light of the new year, in light of this new chapter in life, I think it's imperative that we remind ourselves the importance of valuing it. Because according to the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ الصِّحَّةُ وَالْفَرَاغُ. There are two blessings which people really lose out on. They underestimate its value, they lack appreciation of its existence, and they fail to capitalize on its presence. One is health, and the second is free time. Time that you have in your hand. How can I, as a believer in the deen of Islam, take this current moment and utilize it and not waste it? Well, we need to have a plan of action. Because a sign of wasting time is when you don't know what you're supposed to do, or you say, I have nothing to do. This is an indication that you're just wasting time. So the first thing a person needs to do is value what they have. Value the time we have. Number two is make the plan. And a plan begins with an intention. That is why, according to many books of hadith, we find that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَّا نَوَى. Every action, every person's action is based on their intention. And when a person makes that intention, they get what they've intended for. In a hadith recorded by Imam Tabrani, by Sahl ibn Sa'ad radiallahu ta'ala, he relates to us that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and I know there's kalam on this hadith, but I will still state it, niyatul mu'min khayrun min amali. That the intention of a believer is better than the deed itself. Why? Because in Islam, when you make an intention to do something, you just make an intention, Allah has told the angels, write down a reward. Now when you stand up to pursue what you intended, you are getting the reward. When you accomplish what you set out to do, you are getting the full reward. When people continue to follow what you did, that reward is residual. It is what we know as sadaqah jariyah, and it will continue to give you goodness even after your demise and when you're 6 foot under the ground. But it all starts with an intention. And today we need to leave from here and go home with an intention. And not just an intention, but a resolution. What is the difference between a resolution and an intention, you may ask? A resolution is a course of action with a firm determination. We talk about New Year's resolutions. It is a very important opportunity for us as Muslims that we too make resolutions. The era of insha'Allah, the cultural insha'Allah, has to end. And the era of the true insha'Allah has to begin. وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلُ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا أَنْ يَشَاءَ اللَّهِ. Never say I'm going to do that tomorrow unless Allah wants it. You say insha'Allah. We need to stand up as Muslims with a determination, with a resolution, with a path in life, understanding the value of time. And we're going to say insha'Allah, and we're going to do what needs to be done insha'Allah. We're going to put aside the cultural insha'Allah. When a person comes and tells you, it's time to pray, insha'Allah. Prayer is almost finished, insha'Allah. Prayer has left, masha'Allah. You have to pray, you will die, insha'Allah. That has to finish. That has to finish, because these are signs of an individual who is lost, and only that individual who is lost is one who does not value the blessing of Allah, i.e. time. So there are 4 resolutions that we as an ummah are going to make today. There are 4 resolutions that we all as an ummah are going to make today, inshaAllah. Number 1, in this year, we are going to work to empower ourselves. Focus more on ourselves and not on others. Because brothers and sisters, there's a very dangerous trend ongoing in our society. Muslims are constantly running to appease, to answer, to present. I want to ask you a simple question. What do you have? How much energy is left within you? How much fuel is in your tank? You can only give if you have. We've been trying to give for so long that we are like people who are so hungry, our stomach is speaking to ourselves, and our nature and attitude has become chippy because of extreme hunger. This year, regardless what's happening in the world, I am going to focus on myself. I'm going to refuel myself. I'm going to re-energize my soul. I'm going to reconnect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it's then and only then will I be able to tackle the problems of the world. This is the first resolution. Number 2, we are going to now jump into the water and swim and stop reading about swimming from its different angles. We are talking so much about Islam nowadays. There are so many classes and seminars and subjects being conducted. We don't need talk anymore. We need action. So the knowledge that I know, I need to now put it into practice, inshaAllah. Number 3, we are going to work towards something instead of working against something. The trend for the Muslim community has been to denounce this and denounce that, to denounce these people and to discredit those people. We are not going to work. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never worked against Abu Jahl. He never worked against Abu Lahab. He never demonized them. He actually worked for something that path discredited Abu Jahl. It discredited Abu Lahab, and it brought Hinda and Abu Sufyan in front of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu annaka Rasulullah. They made the change by presenting something better. And number 4, we are going to make historical impact, not moments that are worthy of trending. We need to lose these hypes and do things that will help our great-grandchildren, inshaAllah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for afiyah. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for ease. Stop explaining your religion to people and start exemplifying your religion. We don't need to explain why we have a beard anymore. We don't need to explain why our women and our sisters wear hijab anymore. We don't need to explain what Sharia is anymore. We don't need to explain what our name means anymore. Enough is enough. No one from any other faith or religion or tradition explains this as much as Muslims do. We are going to make a resolution, these 4 points that I presented. We're going to ask Allah for His assistance, and we are going to start representing. Believe, my brothers and sisters, in the dream. Not the dream of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, but the dream of your Prophet and my Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For he foretold of a time of understanding and stability that will happen in this world. He started the groundwork, but he never saw it come to fruition. It is your time and my time to see it reach those heights and bring it to its complete and perfect form. We will inshaAllah stack up one by one and do what needs to be done, for we believe in a time that is yet to come. In closing, my brothers and sisters, time cannot be bought. Time cannot be paused. Time never comes back. And time will never go on forever. We are born in time, we live in time, and we will die in time. Time is the ambit within which we operate. What we do with time is what we do with our lives. I close with the verses of Surah Mu'minun, chapter number 23, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the believers on the Day of Judgment. إِنِّي جَزَيْتُهُمُ الْيَوْمَ بِمَا صَبَرُوا أَنَّهُمْ هُمُ الْفَائِزُونَ. That when you utilize your days on this earth, when you value the time and the days on this earth, you made your weeks and your months and your years great and perfect. You pushed aside wrong and you put forth goodness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, indeed, I have rewarded them this day for their patience and endurance, that they are the attainers of success. Allah will then say to them, how long did you remain on earth in number of years? They will say, we remained a day or a part of a day. Ask those who enumerate time. Allah will then say, you stayed but not but a little. If only you had known. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who make time the best time, who make our lives the most meaningful lives, who make this world a better place, who put forth goodness and put aside bad and evil, who bring forth harmony, love, peace, and prosperity, and put aside racism and division and hatred and all the other evils we see happening in our world. We send salutations and blessings upon Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who mentored us, who guided us, who showed us that this can be done. Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala al-nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad abdika wa rasulika an-nabiy al-ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathiran kathira. Allahumma innaka afuwun kareem tuhibbu al-afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma innaka afuwun kareemun raheemun tuhibbu al-afwa fa'fu anna. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah wal-mu'afata ad-da'imata fi dinina wa dunyana wa akhiratina. Nas'aluka Allahumma min al-khayr kulli ونعوذ بك اللهم من الشر كله. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. آمين يا رب العالمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Please ensure that our lines are straight, stand shoulder to shoulder. Please come closer, inshallah. There are many brothers who are still waiting outside. If you see a spot in front of you, please move forward and fill in that gap. Please ensure our lines are straight, stand shoulder to shoulder.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الله